As we go to the assimilation checklist, one of the first items on the checklist is the new members class. I'll be talking about the new members class in a different context, but new members class, we really need to break it down into two parts. And so as we go through this, we'll be looking at the new members class from the idea of good information and assimilation. And then when we get to checklist item 2, we'll be looking at it from the perspective of right expectation and assimilation. So I want to give this to you clearly. I will come back and say it again. A good new members class provides both information and expectation. I understand that you may call it something other than a new members class. You may call it a 101 class or a seekers class, or you may call it an entry point class. There's a number of names to it, but the idea is before people become ingrained and become a part of your local congregation, you bring them through a gate where you can give them both information and expectation. So there is the assumption here, quite frankly, that you have a new members class of some sort and that you're offering it on a regular basis. If you're not, you're bringing people into the church without information and expectation. And regardless of the size of your church, whether you average 40 or 400 or 800 or above, you need to have some type of ongoing new members class. You may need it every month, in rare cases every week, and you may be able to get by with once a quarter if you're in a very small church, but you need to have a new members class. New members classes, among other things, assimilate. They increase the stickiness factor. They cause people to be more involved and to stay at the church. Why is it? Well, there are two aspects, major aspects of a new members class. The first of these is information, providing good information. How does that work? Well, greater familiarity and knowledge of the church has a sticky factor. The more you get comfortable, not in a sense of being disobediently comfortable, but the more you get to know the church, the more likely you are to come back. It becomes a part of your community. It becomes a part of your pattern. And so the greater familiarity that you can have people learn about your church and have knowledge of the church, the more likely they are to be sticky. Where's one of the places that they can get this knowledge? On the front end, in a new members class. Now, just as a reminder, a good new members class both informs and raises expectations. But in this part of our looking at a new members class for assimilation, we're looking at the information part. When we get to checklist item number 2, we will be looking at the expectation part. So there's a balance. And the balance is this. You want to inform, but you don't want to overwhelm. I was a part of a church after I came to Lifeway, had a very strong expectation. In fact, they would not let you be a part of the church unless you went through a new members class. But I tell you what, it was information overwhelm. It was multiple hours on multiple days. And quite honestly, I would have done a lot better on the front end with just a high level view and then got into granular information the more that I became involved with the church. I forgot 95% of everything that I went through. I learned it more over time as I became active in the church. And so you have this balance when you're providing information. You don't want to provide information overwhelm, but you want to provide good information. Now, what are some key sticky issues? I use the word sticky for assimilation. People sticking to the church, they're becoming active in the church, they're becoming a part of the church. What are some of the key informational issues that will help a member become more assimilated into the church? So basically what I'm saying, what are some of the informational issues that I would include as a non-negotiable in a new members class? One is, what is our vision? The vision is, where are we going? What's the plans for the church? What's our future? What are the priorities for the church? You know, what is our vision? If you haven't really done a clear and compelling vision statement that pushes people to action, I recommend you go look at our checklist on building a vision statement, because that is an essential in the sticky factor, in assimilation, in closing the back door. So one of the non-negotiables is, what is our vision? That gives you the opportunity to tell people why you do as a church what you do. Also, hugely important, cannot be compromised, what do we believe? Certainly there are common beliefs among different Christian churches, but there are distinctive beliefs as well. Don't do a bait and switch. Tell them on the front end. Share with them on the front end what you believe, and so they can hear what the true biblical core beliefs are of the church. That's a sticky factor. The more they know what the church believes, the more likely they are to stick with the church. Another thing, as much as you can, introduce them to the staff. Who is our staff? The staff may actually come in and give a brief introduction to themselves, or there may be a photo of them, depending upon the number of staff, obviously. Why is that a sticky factor? Because church members want to connect relationally with leaders and ministers within the church. And if they can know who they are and what they are, there's a more likelihood that they will stick with the church. So to me, one of the non-negotiables of information in a new members class is to provide at least identity, if not in-person introduction of the staff. Here's another thing that you should provide informationally. What do I do as a member in the church? What are the opportunities? You see, we'll get to expectations in a moment about, in the next session, about what you should expect. But one of the things that you should just lay out there for you is, here are ways that you can be involved in the church as information. Quite often, the members will want to say, I really want to get involved right away. I hope to get involved very quickly. What do I do? You provide information of the different ministries, programs, and opportunities to get involved in the church. So before they leave that new members class, in order for it to be sticky, provide them the information. What do I do? Another question is this: what is it we emphasize around here? This may be connected to the vision statement, or it may be something that is seasonal right now. Like right now, this is one of our big emphases in the church. There is this great need in the church and the community, fill in the blank, and we are a part of it. So whether it's an ongoing emphasis or just a seasonal emphasis, to tell them right now, this is why we're doing what we're doing, it takes the surprise factor away. They may hear words and phrases they have no idea in the worship service because you're emphasizing it. Well, if you tell them in the new members class why you're doing what you're doing, what you are emphasizing, then they, the prospective member or the new member, will feel more connected because they're part of the language, the nomenclature. They're a part of what's actually going on in a church. Have you ever been in a situation where you enter into a conversation and you're standing there with 4 or 5 people and they're all talking, but you have no idea what they're talking about? You just feel ostracized and excluded. Well, that can happen many times if you're not sharing with the prospective members or the members, the new members, what it is that you're emphasizing. Another question: how do we get more information? Don't provide every type of information that you can. I came away from that new members class to which I referred to with so many sheets of paper. I couldn't wait to get to the shredding machine. It was just paper overload, information overload. Don't give them everything, but connect them with how they can get more information. Maybe just a one-page summary. Here's some things on the website you need to know. Here's how you can find the layout of the building, and so on like that. Give them some information, some what I would call this non-negotiable information, but also give them access to where and point them to where they can get more information. Here is the point about this item on the checklist. The more members feel like they know, the more likely they will stick. And to make this very clear, if you don't provide this information on the front end, such as a new members class, they will probably never get it at all. And if they never get information, then they will, in all likelihood, become inactive or go to another church where they can feel like they're more a part of it. So, as a reminder, every church as an assimilation factor should have some type of entry point class. I'm calling it a new members class. Every church should. And every new members class or entry point class should provide two basic categories of information, or two basic categories. One is information and two is expectation. I've just gone over information with you, and then when we get to checklist item number 2, we're going to look further at the new members class, and we're going to look at right expectations and assimilation. So take a break. We'll see you on checklist item number 2, the new members class, right expectations and assimilation.